Chad Hovind is a cool dude who is actually a pastor in Cincinnati, Ohio. What's up, cool dude, Chad?
Wow, cool dude. I've been introduced a lot of ways, but never by cool dude. I feel very honored. Wow.
Oh, well, and also has a fantastic, actually, DVD that you can check out called Godonomics, which actually came out of a series that you were doing at your church, at Horizon Community Church in Cincinnati, which was the idea of what? What exactly? Tell us what your kind of the thought that you're kind of bringing up.
There's a lot of talk these days about economics and what's going on and how do we get into the mess that we're in nationally, but also how do many of us get into the mess we are personally and family-wise, and how do we get out of that? So we did a series to discuss what does God's wisdom say about economics, both personal and national. And there's a lot of talk like on socialism and capitalism. And history and the Bible is very clear that socialism doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because it rewards laziness and it punishes hard work. Galatians 6:8, you reap what you sow. There's a great story, actually, of an economic professor was trying to teach his class that socialism doesn't work. And they said, no, it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do. He said, well, let's use it for a test. And so the A-B students worked hard, and they got A's and B's, and a bunch of students were lazy and got D's and F's, but he gave the whole class C's because he wanted to be fair to everybody. Well, the A and B students were ticked off because they worked hard and got punished for it. The D and F students were thrilled. Next test came around. Well, guess what? The A-B students didn't study quite so hard. The D and F students did the same thing. The grades went down, and the average of the whole class was a D. And they began to see, oh my goodness, when you punish hard work and reward laziness, it's a downward spiral. And it's completely contrary to the sow and reap principle that the Bible discusses. And I think it's important as Christians, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or you're just disillusioned like many of us are these days, we need to understand biblical principles and how we vote, how we think about teaching ethics to our kids, work ethics, etc. I think it's very important.
And when we talk about serving God with, our heart, soul, mind, and strength, part of that is our mind and actually, put into thought a lot of what we're doing. Chad Hovind is our guest today. You can go to Godonomics.com, and I love the little tag line that says it's what the Almighty thinks about the almighty dollar. Chad Hovind is our guest today, and in addition to be a cool dude and actually my cousin, he has a fantastic website called Godonomics.com. And, a lot of people don't listen to discussions about, how the economy's doing because it's just depressing. Let's face it.
Sure.
It can be very depressing to hear about that. But you've actually put this thing together, which is a very fun and very informative journey as well on stewardship and money and that kind of thing. One of the things you talk about in there is this whole, we always hear about the devaluing of the dollar and how a dollar isn't worth what it was worth 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. And you had a really interesting illustration to help us understand that.
Sure. Well, I talked about how our money used to be tied to a commodity, which means it had inherent value. So we couldn't just print a bunch of money. And now we've been printing money since 1913, and we've devalued our dollars by 97%. Now, what does that even mean? That means that every $5 in your wallet should be a $100 bill worth of buying power right now. But the more you print money, the less value each dollar has. And I use the example of pancake syrup. Imagine that your husband says, hey, we got some people coming over, and we're going to have 20 house guests. And so you say, great, so you make some pancakes. It's going to be a little brunch. As you get there, he says, oh, right before they get there, did I say 20 house guests? I meant 20 couples. And all of a sudden you have 40 people coming over, not 20. So you say, I need more syrup. So you go and you water down your syrup, and you fill it up with half water, half syrup, and you think, hey, it'll go farther. The problem is you've watered it down, and it's less potent. So now you see everybody who comes to have their pancakes is using twice as much syrup. So even though you have twice as much because you watered it down, they're using twice as much because it's not as potent. That's what happens when the Federal Reserve prints money, is that each dollar is worth less. So when you say, hey, my house prices keep going up, it's not that your house is worth more, it's that the dollars are worth less. And that's why it's important for Christians to understand this, because in Micah, Proverbs, it talks about dishonest scales are an abomination, and a just weight is God's delight. And so we don't even see the way in which the Federal Reserve has been stealing from the poor, the middle class, all of us, really, since 1913.
And it's something you don't think about every day. You hear about the devaluing thing, and the question would kind of become, well, what can I do as an average citizen, as an average person, as an American, to try to live the right way? And that's what you can kind of hear about and read about, as Chad explains, even on the old school flannelgraph, which I think is awesome.
Well, I'm a magician and a juggler and a storyteller, and so we use a lot of different storytelling methods because I have never enjoyed learning when I'm bored. And I have always enjoyed finding new and creative ways to discuss things. So it is really a fun project that I think from really teenagers, even junior hires on up, it's understandable. Well-researched, but really a lot of fun to listen to.
Absolutely. There's 6 sessions. You want to check it out. Godonomics is what it's called, what the Almighty says about the almighty dollar. And you can go to godonomics.com to get the details on that. Chad, thanks for being with us again.